Alright, we're back after what seems like an eternity of being gone, but really wasn't that long ago. And we're back at a road course, the Glen this time, which I don't think we got to race last year. So this is a welcome change, I guess. Then there's another road course after this, so there'll be another guide after this. Anyways, keys to the race card. One, I always say tires, especially here, just the rears, you gotta keep them intact. And I usually always say the rears, but the fronts as well. You can damage them by just overdriving them, and you'll be plowing. Number two, the S's, just straight up the S's. That's the hardest part of this track in this car. That's where most people will struggle. I struggle there. It's just really hard to keep the tires planted. And number three would be dive bombers as usual. There'll always be that one guy who's impatient. Track position's key. I mean, I can go on and on about so many different topics. But let's get to pit road, then the lap, and we'll talk about it. Alright, to the right is pit road. There's your cones. 45 miles per hour all the way down this long and tedious pit road, even though it's not as long as Road America was. Your green cones are going to be the exit. There's a little bit of a elevation change, and there's your X's, so you can start accelerating and stay under that yellow. Alright, after a weird edit, there's your pit out. So to the left we go. Alright, fix that up. Fix weather. Came out to like 108, so it's a little bit quicker than you'll probably be at the start of a run. So I went to a 12-to-1 steering. Brake bias down to 63%. And that's it. No other changes. So, again, I'll throw the gear up. And we'll just run the lap through, then we'll talk about it. So we should be in third gear. Alright, there's a 112.3, almost a 4. You can see how challenging that lap was, just especially the S's. Alright, so let's just make our way into turn 1. I'm in third gear like I mentioned earlier. We're going to go down to second when we get to this brake zone, which I start looking at this big old caution light here. Once that comes into view, hard on the brakes. I'm going to downshift right around this 200 mark, so right there. Down to second gear, still using the brakes to slow the car down. Slightly trail brake into this right-hander. Let it roll if you can. Once you get to the center, it's going to bounce a little bit because of the weird suspension settings. But yeah, so here you can use all the track as long as you stay within the paved area. And you're going to use all that track. Car gets a little, I guess, unsettled, so watch it on your exit. We're in second gear still, and I'm going to shift as I'm making this right-hander. So right there, get as close to the curb as you can without hitting it. Here, you got to play with the throttle. I can't give any guideline. And in case you missed it right there because I was talking, I'm shifting from third to fourth as I'm making the right hand. So as I come in contact with the curb, that's when I'm making the shift. You can see it right there. Again, play with the throttle. You really got to work the car. You really don't want to drive like this every single lap because you pay the price. So we're going to brake hard. We're in 4th gear. There's another caution light. Kind of hard to see. I'm trying to brake slightly after it if I can, but sometimes it doesn't work out. So hard on the brakes. We're going to downshift to 3rd. Alright, since I'm a moron, I forgot to mention my downshift from 4th to 3rd. Anyways, we're looking at this brake light. This caution light here. I'm going to brake really hard again at that. We're going to go from 4th to 3rd, right about there. And we're going to go to 2nd as we're making our turn in. That's just to keep the car as stable as possible for as long as possible. Once you go to 2nd, the engine braking can kind of help you here. You're aiming for this curb. You want to straighten up, aim for the next curb. You don't want to take any more or less of this curb or the car won't turn or it'll bounce uncontrollably. And the same thing for the exit, just the opposite of the entrance. You want to straighten up. When you're straightened up, that's when you want to get hard on the throttle. Anytime you make your turn to the right or left, you're going to be lifting slightly just to make sure you don't wreck. So here for the carousel, right-hander here, I'm going to use a dab of brake to get it to the bottom. Just enough to slow it down to where it'll rotate on its own by rolling or throttle usage. You can see the nose push just a little bit there. We're in 2nd gear, by the way. And we're going to power ourselves off here. Once you get it pointed straight, you can get hard on the throttle. 2nd to 3rd. And we're going to leave it in 3rd. All down the stretch. Now for this brake zone, I'm kind of having a hard time guessing where I want to brake. So I'm saying at the end of these guardrails. If you don't know what I mean, you see where it bulges out on both sides. When I come into contact with that, that's why I'm hard on the brakes. So we're going to be hard. The brakes, we're going to downshift from 3rd to 2nd, right there. As we turn in, we're going to let off the brake a little bit. You know, trail brake, but we're going to release it a little earlier than normal to let it roll to the center of the corner. And once you get there, you can see I'm using the throttle to complete the turn. Alright, I had to take a look back at what I was doing for this next right-hander for the last corner. There's a little pull right here where my mouse is circling. Where you see that arrow? Well, that's when my left side of the pillar here comes into contact with that. I'm on the brakes. Still in 2nd, by the way. And again, as we did back there, we're going to let it roll once we get it turned in. Throttle up once we get to the center. It's kind of an odd-shaped corner. Use the throttle to get off the corner. 2nd to 3rd, and 3rd to the finish line. Alright, not the most well-explained lap that I've done, but hopefully helps somebody. I'll be doing the one for the Indianapolis road course. I don't know what config yet, because we might get the new, well, I say new in quotes, because, you know, it's been out for like 6 years, 7 years, that config, but iRacing hasn't scanned it yet. Either way, regardless of config, I'll be doing that track guide. Anyways, sim racing, should decide.